Imagine standing at the edge of a vast, unpredictable world. Work deadlines looming, relationships tested, ambitions burning, and setbacks lurking around every corner. What if you could anchor yourself in a set of principles so timeless, so unshakable, that no storm could truly move you? The ancient Stoics believed you could. They called these anchors the 4 Cardinal Virtues: wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. Not abstract ideals, but a practical compass for living, one that guided emperors, slaves, and everyday people through chaos and uncertainty. Today, these virtues are not relics of a lost age. They are the foundation stones for anyone seeking clarity, resilience, and meaning in a world that often feels anything but clear. Let's start with the heart of Stoicism. For the Stoics, virtue wasn't just a moral checklist. It was the only thing truly worth pursuing. Seneca wrote, "Nobody can lead a happy life, or even a bearable one, without the pursuit of wisdom." Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher-emperor, insisted, "Live a good life. If there are gods, and they are just, then they will not care how devout you have been, but will welcome you based on the virtues you have lived by." Virtue, for the Stoics, was not about status, wealth, or even happiness in the modern sense. It was about living in harmony with nature, with reason, and with our highest selves.
Only the honorable can be good, Seneca argued, and we regard nothing as good which can be put to wrong use by any person. Power, money, and pleasure are fleeting. Virtue is enduring. So, what are these 4 cardinal virtues? Wisdom, courage, justice, temperance. Each is a pillar, but together they form a fortress. Cicero called their pursuit the summum bonum, the highest good. Marcus Aurelius described the virtuous life as one where our rational nature moves freely forward in its impressions, when it accepts nothing false or uncertain, directs its impulses only to acts for the common good, limits its desires and aversions only to what's in its own power, embraces everything nature assigns it. These are not just lofty words. They are a blueprint for action, for decision, for leadership. Wisdom is the foundation. It's not about collecting facts or quoting philosophers. Seneca said, "Without wisdom, the mind is sick." Wisdom is knowing what is good, what is evil, and what is indifferent. It's the ability to discern what to pursue and what to avoid. In today's world, wisdom is the skill of cutting through noise, resisting knee-jerk reactions, and seeing things as they are, not as we wish them to be.
It's the executive who pauses before responding to a heated email, the parent who listens before judging, the leader who asks, "What is truly within my control?" Epictetus put it simply, "It is better to offend seldom, owning it when we do, and act often wisely, than to say we seldom err and offend frequently." Wisdom is not perfection. It's the relentless pursuit of better judgment. Courage is the engine that drives action. For the Stoics, courage was not just about battlefield heroics. It was the willingness to face discomfort, uncertainty, and fear in pursuit of what is right. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." In the boardroom, courage is speaking the truth when silence would be safer. It's the entrepreneur who risks failure for a dream worth building. It's the employee who stands up for a colleague being treated unfairly. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the refusal to be ruled by it. As Epictetus said, "Vice has nothing in common with virtue, nor freedom with slavery. To live virtuously is to live freely, unchained by fear. Justice is the virtue that binds us to others. Marcus Aurelius declared, "Men exist for the sake of one another. Teach them then, or bear with them." Justice is not just about laws or courts. It's about fairness, integrity, and the common good.
In the modern workplace, justice is creating an environment where everyone's voice matters, where credit is shared, and where decisions are made for the benefit of the whole, not just the powerful few. Epictetus warned, "If you would give a just sentence, mind neither parties nor pleaders, but the cause itself." Justice asks us to put aside personal bias and act for the greater good, even when it costs us. Temperance is the art of self-mastery. It's the quiet strength to say enough when the world screams more. Seneca observed, "Only the honorable can be good. Also, the honorable is necessarily good." Temperance is what keeps ambition from becoming greed, confidence from becoming arrogance, and pleasure from becoming addiction. In a culture that prizes excess, temperance is radical. It's the professional who sets boundaries to protect their health, the leader who listens more than they speak, the friend who offers support without enabling destructive habits. Epictetus captured it. Whenever anyone exceeds moderation, the most delightful things may become the most undelightful. These four virtues are not separate, but deeply intertwined. Wisdom guides courage so it does not become recklessness. Courage empowers justice so it does not become passive. Justice gives temperance a purpose beyond self-denial. Temperance ensures wisdom is not lost in indulgence. Together, they form a code for living, a code that has survived empires, revolutions, and the relentless march of time. For the modern professional, the four cardinal virtues are not just ancient wisdom, they are a competitive advantage. Employers today are searching for more than skills. They want durable capabilities like courage, humility, and perseverance. These are virtues by another name. When you embody them, you become the colleague who can be trusted, the leader who inspires, the friend who endures. You become, in the words of Marcus Aurelius, someone who lives a noble life that will live on in the memories of your loved ones. So, as we journey deeper into these virtues, ask yourself, where do I need more wisdom in my decisions? Where is courage calling me to act? How can I bring more justice into my relationships and work? Where is temperance missing from my habits? The Stoics believed that by asking these questions and living the answers, we move closer to the highest good. We become unshakable, not because life is easy, but because our foundation is strong. And in a world that changes by the hour, that is a power worth cultivating. Let's take these ancient virtues out of the marble halls of philosophy and into the messy, unpredictable reality of modern life. If you're a professional navigating deadlines, office politics, and the daily grind, the four cardinal virtues are not just ideals, they're tools. Let's see what it means to actually live them. Wisdom, first and foremost, is about perspective. It's the ability to step back and see the bigger picture, to ask what truly matters here. Marcus Aurelius, despite being emperor of Rome, constantly reminded himself, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Imagine you're facing a tough decision at work. Maybe it's whether to take a risk on a new project, or how to handle a conflict with a colleague. Wisdom asks you to pause, to strip away ego and emotion, and to focus on what you can control. It's the manager who, instead of reacting to a disappointing quarterly report with blame or panic, calmly analyzes what went wrong, learns from it, and makes a thoughtful plan forward. A practical exercise for wisdom is the view from above.
A Stoic technique where you imagine yourself looking down on your life from a great height. Suddenly, the petty frustrations shrink. The email that ruined your morning, in the grand scheme, it's nothing. The Stoics remind us, most of what disturbs us is not the thing itself, but our judgment of it. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Try this the next time you feel overwhelmed. Pause, breathe, and ask yourself, will this matter in a month? In a year? That's wisdom in action. Courage is the virtue that transforms intention into action. It's easy to talk about values, much harder to live them when the stakes are high. Seneca wrote, "Sometimes even to live is an act of courage." In the workplace, courage might mean giving honest feedback to your boss, or admitting a mistake before it becomes a crisis. Think of the whistleblower who risks their job to expose wrongdoing, or the entrepreneur who bets on a bold idea in the face of skepticism. These are not just grand gestures. Courage is also the quiet persistence to keep going when you're tired, to speak up when you're afraid, to try again after failing. A real-world example, consider the story of Howard Schultz, former CEO of Starbucks. In 2008, with the company struggling, Schultz made the unpopular decision to close over 7,000 stores for a day to retrain employees. It was risky, expensive, and criticized by many, but it was the right thing for the company's culture and long-term health. That's courage, not the absence of fear, but the willingness to act despite it. As Marcus Aurelius put it, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." Justice, for the Stoics, is about serving the common good. It's the glue that holds teams, families, and societies together. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "What injures the hive injures the bee." In modern terms, justice is fairness, making decisions that benefit not just yourself, but your team, your company, your community. It's the leader who gives credit where it's due, who mentors others, who stands up for what's right even when it's inconvenient. Let's say you're a manager and you notice a talented but quiet team member being overlooked. Justice means advocating for them, ensuring their contributions are recognized. Or maybe you're in a meeting where someone's idea is dismissed because of bias. Justice is speaking up, even if it's uncomfortable. Epictetus advised, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." Justice is not passive, it's active, requiring us to step in, not just stand by. Temperance, finally, is about self-control and balance. In a world that glorifies excess, work harder, buy more, never stop, temperance is the radical act of saying enough. Seneca warned, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." For professionals, temperance is setting boundaries, turning off email after hours, taking real vacations, saying no to projects that would stretch you too thin. It's the discipline to focus on what matters, to avoid burnout, to savor success without letting it go to your head. A practical tip, try a digital sunset. Set a time each evening when you disconnect from screens, allowing your mind to rest. Or practice mindful eating, noticing each bite instead of rushing through meals. These small acts of temperance build resilience and clarity. As Epictetus said, "No great thing is created suddenly." These virtues are not theoretical. They're habits forged in the fire of daily life. The executive who listens deeply before making a decision is practicing wisdom. The employee who admits a mistake and learns from it is showing courage. The leader who champions fairness and inclusion is embodying justice. The professional who prioritizes well-being over endless hustle is living temperance. But the Stoics also knew that living by these virtues is a constant struggle. No one is perfectly wise, brave, fair, or balanced. The point is not perfection, but progress. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be one." Each day offers 1,000 chances to choose virtue over vice, to move a little closer to the person you want to become. So as you move through your day, notice the moments that call for wisdom, courage, justice, or temperance. They're everywhere. In the tough conversation you've been avoiding, the temptation to cut corners, the urge to react in anger, the choice to rest instead of push. The Stoics believed that by practicing these virtues, we transform not just ourselves, but the world around us. And here's the secret. The more you practice, the easier it becomes. Virtue is like a muscle. It grows stronger with use. The first time you speak up for what's right, it's terrifying. The 10th time, it's second nature. The first time you pause before reacting, it feels awkward. The 100th time, it's automatic. Each small act of virtue is a victory, a step toward becoming unshakable in a world that never stops shaking. This is the Stoic path. Not a set of rules, but a way of being. A way of meeting life's chaos with clarity, courage, fairness, and restraint. A way of building a life that is not just successful, but meaningful. And as we look at more advanced insights and real-world stories, remember, the 4 cardinal virtues are not just for philosophers or emperors. They're for you, here and now, in every decision you make. Let's go deeper, because the real test of the 4 cardinal virtues isn't when life is calm, but when the storm hits. It's easy to talk about wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance when everything's going your way. But what about when you're blindsided by a layoff? When your reputation is on the line? Or when you're faced with a choice that could cost you everything? This is where Stoicism becomes not just philosophy, but survival. Consider the story of Satya Nadella, CEO of Microsoft. When he took over, the company was struggling, stuck in old ways, losing ground to competitors. Nadella's approach was deeply Stoic. He listened, learned, and made bold changes, but always with humility. He once said, "You renew yourself every day. Sometimes you're successful, sometimes you're not, but it's the average that counts." That's wisdom, the ability to adapt, to see reality clearly, and to act without ego.
Nadella's leadership transformed Microsoft, not through flashy moves, but through steady, principled decisions, proving that wisdom isn't just knowing what to do, but having the patience and discipline to do it. Now think about courage in a modern context. Brené Brown, a researcher and author, talks about the courage to be vulnerable, to admit you don't have all the answers, to risk failure, to have tough conversations. In business, this might mean owning up to a mistake in front of your team, or standing up for an unpopular but necessary change. Marcus Aurelius faced constant threats to his rule, yet wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment." Courage is not bravado. It's the quiet resolve to do what's right, even when no one is watching, even when you're afraid. Justice, too, is tested in the crucible of real life. Consider the case of Patagonia, the outdoor clothing company. Its founder, Yvon Chouinard, made the radical decision to give away company ownership to fight climate change. This wasn't just good PR. It was a deep commitment to justice, to serving the greater good over personal profit.
In your own life, justice might mean advocating for ethical practices at work, or supporting a colleague who's being treated unfairly. Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Justice is about using your freedom, your influence, to lift others up, not just yourself. Temperance, perhaps the most underrated virtue, is the antidote to burnout and excess. In a world obsessed with more money, more followers, more hustle, temperance is the discipline to say, enough. Arianna Huffington, founder of the Huffington Post, famously collapsed from exhaustion and redefined her approach to work and life. She built a company culture that values sleep, mindfulness, and boundaries. This is temperance in action, setting limits, prioritizing well-being, and refusing to sacrifice your soul for short-term gains. Seneca warned, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." Temperance teaches us to master our desires so we're not mastered by them. So, how do you make these virtues real every day? Start with small, deliberate actions. Wisdom can be as simple as taking 5 minutes each morning to reflect on your priorities. Courage might be sending that difficult email you've been putting off. Justice could be mentoring someone who's overlooked. Temperance might mean logging off work at a reasonable hour, even when the pressure says otherwise. Try this. At the end of each day, ask yourself 4 questions. Did I act wisely, or did I let impulse guide me? Was I courageous, or did I play it safe? Did I treat others justly, or did I put myself first? Did I practice temperance, or did I give in to excess? This daily audit, inspired by Epictetus's practice of self-examination, is how you build virtue into your bones. Over time, these small choices compound. You become the leader who can be trusted in a crisis, the friend who's steady in a storm, the professional who brings out the best in others. The Stoics were clear. Virtue is not a destination, but a journey. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Every challenge is an opportunity to practice virtue. The difficult boss becomes a chance to practice patience and justice. The failed project becomes a lesson in wisdom and courage. The temptation to overwork becomes a test of temperance. And remember, you're not alone on this path. The Stoics themselves struggled. Seneca battled anxiety and political intrigue. Marcus Aurelius faced betrayal and war. Epictetus was born a slave. Yet each, in their own way, found freedom, not from circumstance, but from within. They remind us that the 4 cardinal virtues are not just for saints or sages, but for anyone willing to try, to fail, and to try again. In the end, the 4 cardinal virtues are a blueprint for unshakable living. Wisdom gives you clarity. Courage gives you strength. Justice gives you purpose. Temperance gives you peace. Together, they make you resilient, not because life gets easier, but because you get stronger. So, as you move forward, remember, every moment is a chance to practice virtue. Every challenge is an invitation to grow. The world may be chaotic, but your foundation can be unshakable. As Marcus Aurelius said, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be one." The Stoic path is not about perfection, it's about progress. And with each small, deliberate choice, you become the kind of person who not only survives the storm, but becomes the calm within it. That's the promise of the 4 cardinal virtues. Not just ancient wisdom, but a living, breathing code for modern life. Wisdom to see clearly, courage to act boldly, justice to serve others, temperance to master yourself. This is how you build a life and a legacy that endures.